Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just 23 days away from its official release by Disney, Lucasfilm, J.J. Abrams, and even creator George Lucas. That is all set and ready to end the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now today on Thanksgiving Day, by the way, happy Thanksgiving everybody, we got brand new footage of The Rise of Skywalker in the form of a new TV spot that is honestly more revealing than the other ones that we got these past 2 weeks, give or take, and this one actually features a lot of plot points that line directly up with the leaks that we have been talking about. So we will also be heading into spoilers, so if you guys don't want to be spoiled, I do heavily suggest that you guys exit out of this video right now, as we will be going over the new footage in this TV spot and how it lines up with the other leaks. Now, what's really exciting about this in the very beginning of the brand new TV spot, and what makes it so fantastic, is that we do hear a revision of the Duel of the Fates theme from, of course, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And what's so great about that is that this is all done by John Williams. This was completely reworked at the very beginning of, the production of the movie until he actually was able to record it over this summer. And now we can actually finally hear it in this new TV spot. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. The second thing that really does excite me here is that we do get brand new dialogue of Palpatine portrayed by Ian McDiarmid, where he says, "This will be the final word and the story of Skywalker." And basically, as we go through the footage, the first brand new piece of footage actually involves a segment in which we do have the moment in which we have both Rey and Kylo Ren fighting on board of the second Death Star wreckage, and some new shots of the world of Pasaana. But the one that really stands out to me in, I guess you could say midway through the actual TV spot, is we do have the Millennium Falcon being piloted, most likely by, of course, Lando and Chewbacca. And if you look closely, they're either going through some kind of erect Star Destroyer or the interior of one of the new Star Destroyers that actually holds the new super weapons called the Annihilators. Again, a lot of fans are very worried on whether or not Lando Calrissian is going to make it out of this one alive. Hopefully he does. I mean, I would like to see at least one of the classic characters make it out alive in this story. Moving on through, we get new shots of TIE fighters. I gotta say one thing, that this is also reminiscent of what we got in Return of the Jedi already, where they're going into the very core of the second Death Star. It reminds me of that, and I think that's exactly where J.J. Abrams got this from. But moving on through, we have other shots of TIE fighters getting destroyed. It's a very interesting shot. I like what they did there. In what appears that it could be the Falcon, actually. This might actually be him piloting the Falcon, if I'm not mistaken. It could be a different ship, but from what it looks, it could very well be the Falcon. So moving on through, this is where we get the more interesting shots that are more revealing. Besides the battle over Exegol and the hundreds of Star Destroyers that we do see, and Poe Dameron screaming, saying no, obviously I believe is in reference to Zori Bliss and her death inside of her Y-Wing. And now, as we go through this, alright, there are some revealing shots that do line directly up with the leaks that we're going to talk about in just a couple of seconds. Here is a shot of Rey with the hood over her head. Now, we do know that the world of Ahch-To is going to return in The Rise of Skywalker, judging from the leaks that we've been talking about. As you can see in the background, that is indeed the world of Ahch-To. And if you guys have actually seen the exact location of where Luke Skywalker is standing on the edge of the cliff, this is the same exact location. Why does this line directly up with the leaks? Well, in the leaks that we actually went over, there's going to be a moment in the film in which Luke's Force Ghost is literally going to lift the X-Wing out of the water of Ahch-To and literally place it on the cliff, where Rey jumps in and takes off and jumps away from the world of Ahch-To. She makes her way out of there. So I like this shot. It's almost reminiscent of Luke Skywalker standing on the edge of the cliff, but now it's Rey, and it kind of has a really interesting, look to it in the overall cinematography. So moving on through, alright, and actually before I get to the next shot, there is a segment in which Rey is slightly looking up if you look at her eyes. So you can see that she's looking up there. So moving through, we have a burning TIE fighter. Now, you guys may be wondering, why is there a burning TIE fighter on what appears to also be Ahch-To? Also, judging from the leaks at the very end of the second act, when she defeats Kylo Ren and leaves him for dead on board of the second Death Star, She grabs his actual TIE fighter and leaves and goes to the world of Ahch-To, destroys the TIE fighter to abandon herself on the island of Ahch-To, very much like what Luke did with the X-Wing, where Luke then gives her a second chance and to not make the same mistake that he did as isolating himself, and gives her the X-Wing. So that burning TIE fighter that you do see is indeed on the world of Ahch-To, once again lining directly up with the leaks that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Here's Babu Frick in the droid factory, nothing too special. And as we go through, there is one shot that I actually want to go over that is very intriguing, is that Kylo Ren is approaching Palpatine's base that looks like a large cube that's colored black. You can see it so vaguely in the distance, but that is exactly what that is. That's Palpatine's base that actually leads to underneath the surface of the world of Exegol, followed by a shot of Kylo Ren pointing his saber at something or somebody. That also most likely lines up with how Kylo Ren is going to point his saber at Palpatine's neck at a certain point in time in the film. And this TV spot, I will say, I mean, it is very impressive. You hear Duel of the Fates, you hear the new dialogue of Palpatine sounding very mighty, and Ian McDiarmid, honestly, is still great at portraying the role of Palpatine as far as dialogue goes so far. I'm very much excited still for Palpatine. That's my main driving force here for the hype of this movie, is to see exactly how Palpatine's going to be utilized in the Rise of Skywalker. So let's talk about a couple of points here, and let's just, kind of go over things. So, Ahch-To. A lot of people are wondering what in the world is going on with Ahch-To. When is it appearing? Well, it's actually all set and ready to appear at the very end of the second act of Episode 9. So essentially, the reason as to why Rey even goes to the world of Ahch-To is because there's going to be a moment in which he taps into the dark side of the Force and literally kills Kylo Ren or severely injures him by stabbing him through the chest with her own lightsaber, where Kylo Ren is basically either on the verge of death or is dead, and she either heals him or revives him with this new healing power that she has, that she learned from the Jedi books that she took from the world of Ahch-To many months ago, or a year ago roughly, ever since the events of The Last Jedi when she left. So she's been studying the books, and in those books she was able to learn about this new healing power that allows her to heal Kylo Ren and then leave him for dead. So essentially, the fight on the second Death Star is, yes, the final battle between Rey and Kylo Ren. That's going to be the final battle where they are actually going to be enemies before they form an alliance to take on Palpatine once and for all. Now, her going to Ahch-To is because she realizes that she made a terrible mistake, that she tapped into the dark side, and that she is following in the same footsteps as Luke when he tried to kill his own nephew, Ben Solo. That's exactly why she travels to Ahch-To, to finally realize that maybe what Luke did by isolating himself was the correct thing to do. Is that the Jedi way, always has its flaws. And this isn't necessarily true, because then Luke Skywalker's Force Ghost shows her the correct path, and that she must defeat Palpatine once and for all, or else he'll take over the entire galaxy, including the unknown regions, and that he poses a very big threat. The other piece I just want to tap into real quick here is, of course, the TIE fighter that is on fire. Now, the TIE fighter that's on fire, that is Kylo Ren's brand new TIE fighter. He actually travels to the world of Exegol with it, as well as traveling to the Aqua Moon, or should I say the Ocean Moon, called Kef Bir, which, by the way, is the location of the second Death Star wreckage. He lands it on top of the wreckage, makes his way down to the second Death Star inside, and battles her within Palpatine's old throne room before he makes his way up to the battle. So that's where she steals his TIE fighter and leaves him for dead, but there's yet another actual ship that's actually going to be a part of the second Death Star, and that is, of course, going to be Rey's Elsewhere, that Kylo Ren's going to use to escape, and where he leaves as Ben Solo, after seeing a vision of Han Solo where he is now redeemed as Kylo, or should I say redeemed as Ben Solo, and pretty much shifting from the dark to the light. So this TV spot, like I say, lines directly up with the leaks that we've been talking about, and some elements of the first, second, and third acts of the movie. So with that being said, guys, I would love to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear get lost.